What is up, nerds? We are back. Episode 44 of the Pickleball Pursuit podcast. I'm your host, Lewis, with Pickleball Pursuit, here with my pickleball wife, the co-host, the king of nerds himself, Justin from Pickleball, etc. How you doing, man? That's a real fancy belt. It would be really nice if that was sitting on my desk, asshole.
Ooh, let's just take a look at it real quick. Ooh.
Yep. Man.
Pretty nice.
Wow.
Boom. Here, hang on. I gotta hold it like a WWE guy, you know what I mean?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, you gotta hold it, right there. You gotta show everybody who's boss, baby. Yeah. The man. Congratulations. For anyone who has not listened to anybody talk about it or been on the internet, Justin won. Justin won the Nerdy Turdy.
Yeah, you went a step too far. Some people may not even know what this is. This past weekend, Lewis and I and 26 other reviewers and content creators played in the Bread and Butter Nerdy Tourney. It was an event hosted and put together by Bread and Butter. And yeah, big tournament, 14 teams, random teams basically drawn. And yeah, myself and my partner, Right Side Will, took home the belt, baby.
Definitely left side Will.
Definitely left side Will.
Definitely left side Will.
With me, left side Will. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Me and Justin. Just gonna go ahead and say this, guys. Putting everybody on blast. The pickleball. It was an all Pickleball Pursuit final. So
yeah,
all you nerds talking all that crap. Justin and I were real quiet, drilling, prepping, and we came there and we whooped all y'all's asses.
Drilling, prepping, bribing Doug to give me the best partner. You know what I mean?
That's right. We didn't get carried by 5-0s at all. I mean, we were
so. Yeah, man, it's so cool. So I played Lewis in the finals. Lewis and his partner, Steven, who's a great player and great dude. And yeah, so it was kind of crazy. And I told Lewis, I was like, man, nobody had on their 2025 bingo card Lewis and I both making it to the finals. Probably not either of us making it to the finals,
No.
But yeah, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, I think, as the episode goes on. But you had a really good partner, like a 5-0 player. My partner's 5-0 plus. So we did have strong partners. However, there were 5 5-0 plus players in the tournament, and basically 4 of those 5 made it to the top 4. So, roughly, we'll say roughly. So really the top 4 teams that were all in the semis were kind of built the same. One really good player around 5-0 or better. And then, the right side player, us.
That's right. The princess.
A great player and their right side princess, So, even though I'm kind of talking myself into this right now, even though I had a great partner and really, he did a lot of awesome stuff, I feel like you and I both, we had to play our roles. We had to play our weak side role, if you want to call it that. And there was, everyone knew it. It was very clear. It was very obvious. There was an obvious strategy, target the weaker player. So
yeah.
We had to do enough to withstand that and, and set up our teammate enough to, kind of shine. So,
yeah it was really which weak link could play the best most consistently for the longest. Yeah.
It was a lot of pressure, honestly, being the weaker player, because you knew every single round.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like doing everything they can to hit to you. Every ball.
Yeah. Yep. And, held it together for a long time and just fell apart in the final. You and Will's tries were pretty much elite. I think y'all missed maybe 2/3, maybe 3. Y'all didn't miss too many. And
we only dropped 1, to be clear. The rest were all drives.
It was all drives. Jacob would be proud of you, but holy hell, man. Y'all were picking on me, man. I was struggling.
Real quick, why don't you kind of talk about your partner and like your strategy and your run through the tournament, and then I'll do the same.
Yeah. So I played with Steven Majangas. He's from Utah, best last name in pickleball, and he is a 5'1" duper, 6'0" guy, just super nice, really couldn't be more friendly or a better partner.
What a great partner. I know.
Oh, he was super hyped up. Like when we, would like have a really tough point and win it, and just, man, the best thing about like a good partner is like when you mess up and they immediately come and be like, it's cool, let's do it. Come on, we're good. And he was like that every single time. There was no like, oh, can't believe I'm playing with this freaking, 4-0. Like, like there was no ego, none of that. It was, he was the man. So Steven, thank you so much for playing, dude. You're a stellar player and even better dude. So we played our first game. It was against Brian and Luca. We kind of messed them up. We beat them 15-3, I think. And they went on to win the prestigious award of the Toilet Bowl winners. So
or lose the award. I don't know how you say that.
Yeah. Yeah, they were the biggest loser. So we were the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So our first game we played Pickleball Will, and John Park from Speak Pickleball. And John is not bad. He said he was trash, and he was not bad at all. He was, I'd say he's like a solid 3.8. And he impressed me. He had some very good lobs that were so annoying. Frickin' John. And we kind of pulled it together. I think we beat them 15-9. Pickleball Will. I don't ever want to play that dude. He is so hard to read. And
yeah, he's the trickiest.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's very good, and he does the craziest shots that seem like low percentage or low margin, but for him, he just makes them all the time.
Yeah. I told Steven after the second point, I was like, just so you know, he's never going to hit it where you go first. So just take your first initial, like, oh, this is where 90% of the people are going. He's not going there. So just go to your second choice. And that kind of, I guess, was good feedback that he was a little bit more ready for, like the off-centered shots, if you will, or the, different sneaky shots that Will always hits. And the good thing about Steven being a 5'1" is he gets a lot of things back and over.
Oh, yeah.
So he was very defensively sound. And we won that game 15-9. But, man, Pickleball Will, dog. So we go on to play in the semis against Brent and Farmer. And just to give y'all a little precursor as to how I was feeling, they beat us the night before 11-1, 11-2. Back-to-back.
Like these are the warm-up rec games. Yeah.
Kicked our ass. Now, neither Steve and I played very well, but it was not like we could have had like 6 or 7 points and just messed up. No, they kicked our ass that night. And I was scared shitless. I was like, oh boy. I was like,
this is the semifinals now.
Yeah, this is the semifinal. I was like, Farmer's pretty damn good. And Brent is a monster on the court. Like, truly a monster. And it was about 3 minutes of freaking out. And then as soon as we started playing, I was like, we can do this. Like, we can beat them. And we went up, long story short, 14-10. We had game point. I missed, it was either 14-10 or 14-13, but missed a 2-hand backhand counter that long. Exactly like the Texas Open, 4-5 miss. And then they got the ball back. They went up 15-14, and they both missed 2 winning counters.
Like
way
kind
out,
of easier
unfortunately.
ones.
Yeah, Brent was
hit
like,
one
that's
wide,
gonna
and then
me.
Farmer hit one wide. Or I'm not sure which order it happened, but watching this
Farmer,
game, by the
Brent.
way, watching this game, the semis, everyone was watching because it was only on one court. This was like the best game of the tournament. It was so hype.
It was good.
Dude. It was
really
an incredible game. Yeah, and then you guys had a game point, didn't finish. They had 2 game points, didn't finish.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was an excellent game. Could not have asked for a more fun game.
And you guys ended up winning 17-15, right?
Yeah, 17-15. Yeah. Wish that was the finals and had the belt, but It's not how it goes. So I'll save the finals for you.
Okay.
So why don't you tell us about how your entire
You guys
tournament
were
went?
either playing better than us or had an easier run, or I mean, some combination of those two. Because it you're like, oh, we beat him 15-3. Oh, we beat him 15-7. Nope. For us, dude, every game was tough. Yeah, and so kind of to set the tone, I played with Will. He was my partner for the first time ever the night before. We were all playing rec play, and to get a kind of a feel for each other. And we don't know each other. We had like barely messaged. I mean, technically he was a mystery partner, right? And he was the partner that everyone thought was a lady, but it's because he was literally played the whole thing in a Wednesday Addams costume. The dude is an animal. He played the entire tournament in a black dress and a black wig, and it was very hot and sweaty, by the way.
Yeah.
So shout out, because like I said, he's an animal for doing that. And to play as well as he did, even in like the perfect clothes, would have been hard, but to do that in a Wednesday Addams costume, crazy. So
yeah, he's a baller, dude.
Absolute baller. We kind of came into the tournament. We were playing rec play the night before, and we were like just goofing, and the vibes were like great right away. And we're basically just like, our strategy was, let's just see how many earnings we can get. We were just like, let's just have some fun. Which probably helped me in the long run, because I didn't really have expectations that, I'm going to go to the finals, I'm going to win. It felt pretty low pressure for me. I honestly didn't know how we would perform. I was like, but let's just have some fun. Let's see if we can get some earnings.
I was the same
Will
way.
Is very good.
I wanted
at earnings,
to win, obviously.
Yeah. Will is very, very good at earnings. But then first round, we play against Dustin from Pickleball Medicine and Aaron, and who's the editor for Pickleball Effect, generic Aaron. And dude, this game was actually a battle, and it was the first game in the tournament.
It was a good game.
On court one. Everybody's watching. The very first point was insane. Like, I hit a really hard serve. Then Will hits like an insanely hard third shot drive. It pops way up in the air. The ball bounces on our side of the net, and it's got one of those backspin ones where it jumps back to their side. I had to like reach over the net to hit, and I barely got it. So just a crazy start to the tournament. Anyway, we go up actually pretty good at the side switch. We're playing to 15, switch at 8. And this is a repeating story. I was like pretty locked in. We go up, and then I start thinking, oh my God, we're about to actually win this game. Oh, I can't believe we're going to make it to the next round. I wonder who we're going to play in the next round.
Head case Justin.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, I'm not focused now. I'm thinking about dumb stuff. I give away 4 or 5 points in a row. Now the game's close again, and I'm like, oh God, better lock in, And it was kind of around this time, I think, that Will and I were like finding our rhythm too. I realized from warming up with him and from the first game that the dude hits like absolute nukes for drives. Like, his drives were insanely good. Yeah. And my drives were feeling pretty good too. And his serves were good, and I feel like I was serving pretty hard as well. So we both were like on the same page. I don't even know whose idea this was, but we were both just like, let's just bang. Let's just be bangers and see how it goes.
Justin is kind of underselling this. Will's drives are like 6-0 drives.
They're legitimately pro level drives. They're elite.
100%. They are elite. Incredibly good.
And I probably had, I would say 4 or 5 plus level drives at this tournament.
Easily.
So it was a good weekend for me. My drives were on for sure. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we were like, hey man, let's just go for it. Let's just be really aggressive. Anyways, we did that. It was a great game. We finished out the game, and then that kind of taught us, we were like, okay, cool. So going into the next game, we talked about this. And like I said, I don't know that either of us came up with this strategy. We just kind of fell into it, but we were like, all right, hey, this is what we're going to do. Rip serves, try to get a weak return, and just drive every third, and let's like test the people and see if either of them have, weaker blocks. And if we find someone with weaker blocks, we are just going to drive every single ball at them for the rest of the game. And I mean, it worked. So the next round,
it did.
The next round was the quarters. We played Paul Lee, and that was a strategy.
I didn't know y'all played Paul Lee. Dang.
Yeah. We didn't want to let Paul hit too many drives because Paul has great drives too. So we just try to take the initiative.
Slap the ball, dude.
Dude, Paul can hit really hard.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, same thing, dude. Just rip serves, try to get weak returns. And if we got a short return, we were blasting a drive. And a lot of times we're blasting them right at the body because, like, they might be going out, but good luck, you know?
Yeah.
But Will's are probably staying in. All of Will's, every single drive of Will's is like 1 inch over the net and dipping super hard.
He had just one where he did not hit a good one and it sailed long. But I mean, it was
very few.
He gets so much spin. It was so high. It still was like 6 inches long, but it was like above my shoulder.
Yeah,
like I let it go. It was like insane that he even got it that close to being in.
So in reality, we kind of settled into this strategy, and it was pretty boring pickleball, to be honest, because we played Paul.
Bang,
we
bang.
did the same thing. Bang, bang, serve, drive, everything. Then the next round, the semis, we play David, Tickle My Pickleball, and Matt Lee, who's a bread and butter ambassador, awesome dude. He filled in for Jacob
Super nice.
Last minute. Same thing, bang, bang, just serve, drive. Even people were saying, like from the sideline, were saying, "This is boring. Dink the ball."
You guys
and we were like, absolutely not. We were not dinking.
No.
So yeah, we just rip serves and drives. And then we watched your semi, and I was pretty scared actually of Brent and Farmer Lanky because Farmer has a really good block. Like it's this he, like tomahawk blocks. He's lefty.
Yeah.
And instead of a backhand block, he blocks like forehand tomahawk, but he's actually pretty good at it. And then Brent is like a very good player. He didn't have problem handling pace at all. So I was watching them and I was like, oh, please God, I don't want to play them because we'll have to change up our strategy. And Will is like dying in this dress. So we're not trying to have long points. We're trying to just... And we even said, we were like, look, dude, we're just going to go hard at it. We'll lose a few points, but we're going to win more than we lose. Might miss a serve or two. Or whatever, but so we didn't want to play them, and then you guys took them out in the semis, and I was like, whew. Not that I wanted to play you, but I really didn't want to play them.
I will say me and Majangus are a less scary team than Brent and Farmer, because Farmer is pretty like defensively sound with like pacey shots. I'm not as defensively sound with pacey shots, but I think we beat them in like the slow game. Better. So like we were
you guys
as imposing.
Exactly, but we didn't care about that. We're not playing slow. We're
exactly. You're just banging.
Yeah, and even if it got to dinks, we're speeding the ball up, maybe 2 or 3 balls in. We're like speeding up the first ball that we can.
Hit up, what do you think, less than 30 dinks the whole entire tournament?
Me too, yeah. Like I was speeding balls up a lot too because that was our game plan. And I don't normally do, that's not normally my play style. Like I usually like to dink, but I was also on the right and I'm really trash at dinking on the right. So I was like, whatever, we're just speeding this up. The first one that was high enough, I was going to roll it like at somebody's shoulder or try to go up the middle or something. So going into the finals, I remember I came and talked to you before and I was just like, happy it's you, but like, I don't want to play you, but if I'm not going to win the belt, I hope you take it home. I was like, whatever happens, this is awesome. Like, happy. I can't believe we're here. That's why I said nobody had this on their bingo card that both of us would be in the finals. And I was proud of you. I watched your run through the tournament.
Thanks, baby.
And
so sweet of you.
Honestly, didn't know going in. This is probably the best way going into the game. I didn't know. I wasn't feeling scared. I wasn't necessarily feeling confident either. I was just like, let's just see what happens. You know what I mean? Let's go for it. And we had our strategy. We're definitely not changing it at that point. And that's basically what happened in the finals. We stuck to our strategy and you guys stuck to your strategy. Actually, this is in the finals is probably the most balls I hit all tournament because you guys were actually doing a really good job of returning to me and not letting Will hit thirds. I mean, he still hit some, of course.
Yeah,
but
definitely
it was probably close to 50-50 watching it back. But luckily my drives were on too. So we had probably 3 or 4 different shake and bake points where I drove and he finished because he's really good at that too.
And none of those shake and bake points were hit to Majangus. Absolutely none. They were all hit to me. All my mistakes.
Sorry, bro.
Majangus is very good at dealing with pace. I struggled that game.
We drove a couple to him early in the game and saw he was good blocks, and we were like, nope.
Yep.
And then literally we're like everything to Lewis. And then it was actually pretty tight. It was 8-7 at the side switch, but you guys got stuck on 7, so you were unwinding the stack, and like we kind of abused that and got like 4 or 5 points real quick.
Yeah.
And then it was still a very close game, but that was enough padding that we were able to finish it out. And honestly, we were just driving everything at you while you're unwinding, or trying to while you're trying to cover the big part of the court while Steven's coming up.
I struggled. It was
So sorry about that, but
dude,
gotta do what you gotta do.
I would have done the same thing. I hit every third at you.
That's true. And well, you guys hit every return to me too, because you know, to make me hit thirds. And some of those Will was still able to come over and take, but a lot of them I had to take.
Right.
Yeah, man. And then the game was kind of over before I knew it. I don't know. I guess I was just in the zone. And even in that game, people were from the sidelines like, "This is boring." Dink. You can hear it on the video.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to dance with who brought you, man. You know what I mean? You just got to keep going for it. And like I said, it's not my normal play style, but it was a ton of fun. So
yeah. Although I did
then go ahead.
play bad that game, that was, not in any way, shape, or form the reason why y'all won. Y'all won because y'all played great. Y'all stuck to a game plan. You executed the game plan well. And even if I blocked more, points into the net, y'all still were putting so much pressure that you kind of were ahead. Almost every point you were ahead after y'all's thirds. Y'all had the advantage. If there was a scale, tipping the balance, after y'all's fifth shot, you had a very good chance of winning almost every fifth shot.
Yeah,
so
it helped us hanging on to the serve, because it may have been the opposite. May have been true when you guys were serving. Those were a lot of the points that you guys were getting ahead in when we didn't have a chance to rip a third at somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that key point there was actually two things watching back. Number one, we caught you unwinding quite a bit, and then we kind of got a little padding. Number two, I did the same thing, almost choked the game away. I let you guys back in it, and we had been hitting everything to you. And so Steven was definitely, we were doing right side to right side pattern, and you were actually getting the best of me in that right side to right side. You're much better on the right than I am. And just a little side note, I had 2 good ATPs, and Steven defended them both. And I think you guys maybe won both of those points. So damn you, Steven. Let me have my ATP highlight. You know what I mean?
I think really I had 2 big put away winner opportunities that I just hit into the net. That was I didn't think of it then. It didn't really deter me then, but that probably gave y'all a lot of we got away with it. Let's take advantage of this. That was, Whew.
So then the other kind of key little turning point is, I kind of, like I said, choked away a few points, let you guys back in, and it got close again towards the end. I don't remember what it was, maybe 13-11 or 14-11 or something like that. Or
I don't know if we got past 10.
Maybe, but either way, I remember.
I could be wrong.
It was after a little run, then you guys got the side out, got a point or two, and we were like, oh shit, here it comes. And we had been hitting only to you, and I knew Steven hadn't hit a ball in a while, except for serves and returns. And I actually sped one up at him, and I think it caught him totally off guard, and he hit the counter into the net. And then
that was the one in the middle, right?
Yeah, I hit it at his right shoulder. He was right in front of me, and I sped it up forehand, just kind of crossbody right, pretty high on purpose at his shoulder, and he tried to do this, and I don't think he was expecting it, because like I said, we had been doing nothing but dinking right side to right side mostly, because you guys didn't want Will to hit it either, because he's an animal, But yeah, that speed up. I looked back and I was like, man, I can't believe I had the balls to do that in that moment, but it worked. We got the side out, and then we finished the game after that.
Yep.
So
yeah, well, my pickleball wife finally beat me.
Finally won a game at a tournament.
I know. It feels pretty damn good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's different. Obviously it feels great, and then everyone's congratulating you and all that. But I was telling you, I didn't have euphoria or anything crazy, but I was like, is this what it feels like to, finish a tournament and not just feel a deep sense of disappointment and I need to go home and do a bunch of work, I was like, I feel great. We finished it. I'm in a great mood, all that. But
well, I got
Yeah,
my.
so-
You got a belt. I got my irrelevant participant medal that says I suck at pickleball on the back. So a true statement, honestly. But
You made it to the finals, bro. I think that's
bro.
that's something to be proud of because it wasn't a
I
huge
was
tournament,
pissed.
right? But it wasn't tiny. It was 14 teams, and nobody was trash, and there were quite a few good players. Like there were 5 players that are essentially 5-0 plus, and then there are a lot that were in the 4-5 to 5-0 range. And then really, it was like pretty solid. I mean, it was definitely what you'd expect from like locally if you went to like a 4-0 plus tournament, because not many 5-0s would sign up, but maybe like 4 or 5 would sign up. There'd be like some 4 or 5 plus players, and then a lot of like 4-0 ish players in there.
Yeah.
So
I would say there was maybe like only 1 or 2 people that I would say were under 4-0. Yeah. So, congratulations, man.
3.39 representing.
Well, I'm just talking about like skill level, not their
I know
what their
I know
duper
that.
rating is. But
Just joking. Will was gassing me up. He posted a story today. He posted some of my highlights, and then it said best 3.39 in the country.
Oh yeah. I remember.
That's pretty
I saw
nice.
That. Yeah, that was good.
Nice.
Yeah, that was awesome. Congratulations, man. I was a little pissed off when I lost because I stunk it up in the final, but about 2 minutes later, I was like, all right, we're good. I'm gonna go pout for a minute, pretend like I need to wrap up this extension cord, and then I'll get over it and go back to having fun, which is exactly what happened. It was too fun of an event to be upset or sad for longer than a quick moment. So, all right, man, we're gonna do a little recap of just the whole entire weekend, and we're gonna do some superlatives. We're gonna give away some awards to the attendees, the nerds. So, all right, King of Nerds, Justin.
Yeah.
What was your favorite moment or favorite moments of the Nerdy Tourney weekend?
I thought about this, and I have 3 different ones, and because they're very distinctly different. The first, when I look back on the weekend, funny enough, like a lot of what I remember is actually the on-court parts of the tournament. And it's probably because it was so high adrenaline. And dude, I had so much fun playing. Like that's some of the most fun I've had playing pickleball in a long time, because just like everybody was cool. It was highly competitive, honestly. Like everyone was really intense. I know we said, oh, we're just there to try to get earnings. Literally like a quarter of the way through the first game, me and Will were like, let's win this shit. Like no more just trying to get earnings. Like it got very competitive, but even with that, everyone was still like such great sports, and there was like fun trash talk, but you knew it was all in good fun. And Will was an excellent partner. Like he was very encouraging, and just like very positive, and the dude is a beast like of a player. So yeah, a lot of what I like remember was like the on-court moments. And then, I had a couple moments where you feel like you're the one being targeted, and then you pull off a good shot or a good counter, and then you like win the point, and you're like, fuck yeah, like,
let's go.
Like, yeah, it's like getting hype, and that's not like, I don't like get hyped that much. So that was a cool experience. So like I have a lot of vivid memories of the on-court stuff. The rest of the tournament, like when we were waiting between matches and watching the other matches, I barely remember. So I don't know. It's just my brain. I guess I was like locked in for the first time ever,
Yeah.
Then I would say a second moment that ended up being a really cool moment. This was a solitary moment for me. I was totally alone. This was after the tournament wrapped up and everything, and we all kind of had separate cars. I ended up going back, and no one wanted to go with me. And we were staying at a hotel that was just like, I don't know, maybe half a mile from the beach. So before jumping in the shower, went back and I just walked down to the beach, and it was like pretty empty at the time. And I just like went totally alone, just like got in the ocean, and the beach there is super nice, dude. And then the ocean, just like the ocean floor was just like perfectly flat sand, and it kind of went down to about chest deep and then just stayed flat for a while. And the water was like cold, but it felt great like after the tournament. And I don't know, dude, I was just out there just chilling in the water, just like soaking it up. And it was like a beautiful day. And I was like, damn, what a day, you know?
What a day.
And
King of the
I know.
nerds, just chilling in the ocean. hanging
Well,
out.
you know, yeah, and I love
Post-win
nature
clarity.
too. So yeah, it was so it was awesome. That was a cool moment for me to remember and kind of experience, just like literally so in my body, feeling everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the wind, the water, the sand, everything, and it was that was cool. It was a nice moment to be alone because honestly, the whole weekend, you had very few chances to ever be alone. You know,
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then another moment that I thought of, which is this is going to be so funny to you because you probably even forgot this, is there's like 40 people there, you know, 30 to 40 people at any time. And it's crazy. And like we know these people, a lot of them online, some of them even in person, and we're friends with them, right? It's very cool. Everybody's awesome. But this was a moment that like I kind of realized you and I are kind of like a level deeper in friendship than I am with everybody else. And it was just funny. It was like the first night, everybody's there hanging out, and basically you and I are like locking eyes, and we're like ready to go to bed, because we're sharing a room, right? And then we're like, yeah, we're like the two, like everyone's like calling us like the two boomers of the group. We like literally go to bed before everybody else, and then you were like, "Did you bring the sound machine?" And I was like, "Yes," and you were like, "Fuck yes." And like that moment right there, I was just like, hell yeah.
Shit.
You know what I mean? I was like, man, this is one of my best friends. You know what I mean? Like we're just on the same page. We don't like, you know, need to hang out and, you know, socially. We're just like happy to go to bed and get good sleep and have a nice sound machine. So
that's right.
That's
That's
a cool
why you
moment.
marry your best friend, baby.
Hey, and I'm just going to say who was in the finals. Maybe the people who got great rest. We woke up early at 6 before everybody else. We went and got breakfast.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So who was in the finals?
You got that right, man. Yeah, those are some good moments. That was funny. It was hilarious because it was like one of those. It was like you know, it's like when a moment happens, you're like, yeah, I know this is the right time to ask this question. That was it. Yeah, when I was like, it's time to go to sleep. You ready? Ready to go?
Yeah.
Man, I had a lot of favorite moments. It was really cool meeting everybody, obviously. Met tons of reviewers that I haven't met before. Met Max from Spartus. Obviously, finally met Doug from Bread and Butter and his daughter Aurora and wife and sons. And thank y'all for putting this together. Obviously, super appreciative. It was badass. But I guess my favorite moment was probably the semifinal moment, man. That was like...
You guys won?
Yeah, because that was such an intense game.
Really was.
Everybody was watching, which I didn't even like think about for like 1 second.
Oh,
I was
it was
like,
hype too. Everybody was watching and loud.
In. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I knew like the moment and like knew everybody was watching, but that like, oh, everyone's watching you. You got to play good. Never once crossed my mind. It was like, I got to win this fucking game so Brent doesn't beat my ass again for the third time. But that was really fun. And then obviously, I mean, watching you win, bro. Even though I played terrible, like it was super cool to see that you won. I mean, who else? You know, the nerdiest of nerds. You know, the guy who knows everything about pickleball paddles. He wins the paddle nerdy tourney. So that was really cool too. Just playing in the final with you was kind of like a, oh shit, like we're here in front of everybody and it's us two. Like that was crazy.
Yeah,
truly
cool,
crazy. Man. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, we were like exchanging looks across the net, you know, making jokes, smiling. You literally said "fuck you, bitch" at one point to me.
Yeah.
after he bagged me with a mishit.
Yeah. Oh, that was so funny. But it was cool, man. I told Steven, I was like, look, man, win or lose, I want to have fun, but don't get it twisted. I want to win. Like, I want to win every game. But if we don't, and you make mistakes or vice versa, I ain't gonna be mad about it one bit. And that was kind of the freeing, you know, part of playing the tournament and what made it so much fun. But man, incredible to meet everybody. So yeah, that was probably my favorite moments, man. Just hanging out at the Sea Spray. What was it? Sea Spray Lodge.
Sea Spray
So
Surf
fun.
Lodge, yeah.
Yeah, Sea Spray Surf Lodge, man, such a cool little spot. Everybody was so nice and fun and hilarious, and I probably laughed more that trip than I've probably ever laughed, in a cumulative weekend. It was hilarious. So we're gonna move on to some superlatives, man. Let's give some awards out.
Okay.
Who do you think we're gonna start? Best reviewer, so the best player of the reviewers only.
Okay, that's to say the best player of the reviewers, or just the best paddle reviewer at reviewing.
Yeah, I would say best players of the reviewers. Yeah, you need me to go first, or you?
I mean, I got an answer. I actually kind of got two answers. Does Brent count as a reviewer or not?
I would say Brent does not count as a reviewer.
Okay, then my answer is Isaac.
Yeah, I would say
Isaac counts. I think Isaac counts.
I guess Isaac counts. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think Isaac counts. He definitely has a big part in reviewing for Pickleball Studio. He does a lot of testing. He does editing. He does a lot of filming. He's like a reviewer. He's a part of that channel for sure. So, and even between Brent and Isaac, by the way, that's a hard choice. I think they have different play styles and different strengths, but they might be nearly the same level from my judgment. Brent's maybe a little bit more steady, and Isaac is more dangerous.
Yes, yeah.
So, but yeah, Isaac's
don't get it twisted.
A great player.
Brent can be pretty dangerous.
Oh yeah, no, of course. Yeah. They're both incredible players. They're very, very good. Kick my ass 10 out of 10 times.
They were monsters. Well, I would say if I'll exclude the co-hosts.
Okay.
And I must say, even though Majangus does review for Pickleheads, I'll just use like the reviewers that people know in the YouTube space because they're more web based. I'll probably go with Braden. I think Braden probably is the best. Best of the reviewers only. Of course, if Isaac's in there, I think Isaac is a little bit better of a player than him. And then
Braden's very good.
Brent is just an absolute monster. So overall, everyone there, everyone we played, who do you think is the best player?
Easy choice. Right side Will.
Right side Will. I would say it's
nice to have the best partner. You know what I mean?
I would say right side Will is pretty up there. I think he has the most dangerous skill set for a tournament like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall player, I think Brent had the best overall game. That dude was kind of had no weaknesses. He was just kind of good everywhere, which is super impressive. All right.
That's fair.
Funniest. Who was the funniest person there?
This was a hard pick, actually, because there's a lot of funny people. And when I was thinking about this, a lot of these people have, unique sense of humor, which is cool. A lot of people are funny in different ways.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with John Park, Speak Pickleball.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Yeah,
I like his style of humor. It's like deep cuts, maybe some puns, and then online he's hilarious. Like he's memeing things all the time. But yeah, so he isn't like always like the snappiest or the loudest humor, but I really enjoy his type of humor. Like I said, it's like deep cuts and like little things here and there. So John always cracks me up. Yeah,
man, there were a ridiculous amount of funny people in moments, but Farmer Lanky had to be my funniest person.
He's on my list. Yeah.
The man just like, he is, and I mean this in a good way, he's like a fucking cartoon character. Like the amount of crazy stuff that just happens around him and to him and the funny things he says.
His vibe is 10 out of 10 too. He's amazing to be around.
He's the man. Shout out to his Uber driver.
And as well.
But dude, he had hilarious. He had me rolling all weekend. Dustin from PB Med was a good runner-up too, which I was not expecting.
Really?
Dustin's like facial expressions was a little, and him just talking about.
I think I did expect it because Dustin and I talk quite a bit. Dustin's he is like I consider him a good friend of mine. He's funny. I like Dustin.
He was the surprise funny man. Such a solid dude. had me cracking up. All right. Most likely to hook. Who's going to hook you?
Easy one. Dustin.
Dustin, he hooked you so bad.
Not only did he actually hook us on a sweet ATP by Will, but then also like 2 balls after that, he called a ball out that I like watched back and I put in slow-mo and I'm like, oof, that's a tournament call. I mean, it's hard to tell if it's in or out, but I was like, that's 2 balls later. So
it's definitely Dustin. Will hit a pretty crazy ATP, and if the line is here and this is the court, it landed like a good 6 inches in, and Dustin called it out, and then Will goes, "Are you sure?" And
at first everyone stopped, like literally.
What?
We were like turning around to tap paddles, and then he was like, "Out," and then everyone's like, "What?" All 4 of us on the court.
Yeah,
and even
like
Aaron, Dustin's partner, it shows on the video. He turned around and goes, like. And then Will's like, "Are you sure?" And Dustin's like, "Yeah, I was out." So Dustin, to his credit, that's why the reason why I pick him is because he says like his vision's bad, and he's like, I can't see very well. So yeah, we got to call him that. Wear your glasses if you need glasses, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Come on.
Oh man, that was hilarious. Y'all took it very well. He obviously, I'm sure, of course, did not mean to hook y'all, but yeah, dude. In tournaments, if it's close, bro, if it's like I'm 99% sure that's out, it's out. No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, hardest server. We had Dink and Drive, the Magnum. He called us all out. He said he's got the hardest serve. Does that live up to be true, Justin, in your opinion?
Okay. Are we saying hardest as in would be the hardest on a radar gun or hardest to return?
Hardest on a radar gun.
It might be Matt Hoffman, Dink and Drive. However, he doesn't go for them that much. And when he does go for the hard ones, not super consistent. But when he gets one of his very hard ones and it's in,
it's a monster. Yeah.
It's a Magnum.
Yeah.
So,
man,
hardest to return, by the way, honorary, right side Will. His serve is just crazy. It's so much action. It's always deep. I mean, you had to return it a bunch.
I'm not going to lie. Your serve was harder to return than right side Will's. But right side Will, when we played y'all, he was trying to push us out wide. He wasn't trying to do like the hard serves.
Yeah, because you guys were unwinding. Yeah.
Yeah. But the hardest in terms of velocity, Dink and Drive. He may have looked like he was a little cocky dude on the, thing, but that dude, stellar guy, super nice, super funny, just a genuinely good dude.
And can hit the ball very hard.
And he can hit the hell out of the ball.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this next one is quite easy. Who had the best drives?
You say it. You go ahead.
Yeah, right side Will. It's not even
it's gotta be
a question.
It's not close. Those are, like I said, they're elite. His drives have to be better than like a good portion of the pros. Legitimately.
Yeah.
They're that good.
Yeah.
Like
I would
placement,
100% agree.
height, pace. I know. Every time we're warming up before a game, he's like, I just need to loosen my arm up. And he's ripping drives at me, and I'm like hitting these horrible blocks. I'm like, sorry, dude. Like I can't
do anything about it.
I can't keep blocking them perfectly back for you to like drive over and over again. You know what I mean?
I'm not a pro.
Yeah. So just warming him up, I was like, sheesh. Thank God he's on my team.
Yeah.
Because they were all hard and
ripping them,
dipping so much.
Yeah, almost every one. Both of y'all's were like, both y'all's drives. They all were like this far off over the net. And then once they got to the kitchen line where we were, they were like this far under the net, like 6 inches. That's how much dip y'all had on y'all's. It was
I have a lot less power.
Impressive.
Of course, I was mainly going for dip. I've been hitting. I think this is better. I've been hitting more like 70% drives, but just trying to get as much dip as I can. So mine are not nearly as powerful as his, but decent
all
shape.
Right. Last superlative. Who was the most underrated?
We might have the same pick for this. Gotta be Farmer.
Oh, well, I knew Farmer was good, so
okay.
That's why he won't
I think
be my
the
pick.
internet as a whole underrates him, though.
Oh yeah, Farmer is like 4 or 5 for sure. I would say
he's
he
good.
can easily,
and he's
play
creative.
4 or 5 well.
Yeah, he's creative. He's like on the court with his shots. He's a lefty. He's really solid. He
Yeah.
doesn't miss a lot of stupid stuff like we do.
No, that is true. He does not make a bunch of stupid choices like we do.
Yeah.
That is
very good.
something But the most underrated, I'm going to give two answers here. Number one would be Sleeves. Sleeves was not
okay.
2-9.
That's fair.
He was not 2-9 at all. There was a game where I watched, he had 3 resets in a row. Then they hit one more to him, and he dropped it in. That's not 2-9. That's like, he's like 3-7 minimum. But yeah, Sleeves would be most underrated. And then my wife.
I thought we weren't picking either of us for any of this stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's true. 3-3-9, and you went out there and hung with the 4-5s and 5-0s with ease and beat them all. So, gotta have to pick you, my guy. So it's because you're handsome. All right, we're gonna move on. That's pretty much it. Bread and butter tournament. You want to say anything else apart from just thanks?
Yeah, what an amazing time. What a weekend to remember. I don't know if anything like this will ever happen again. Like you said, this is going to be a weekend like we feel nostalgia for and like look back on fondly. So I think massive thank you to Doug and Aurora and DJ and Devin and the whole team, and even Meg at the hotel. She was taking care of us, and I'm forgetting names, and Julie was picking up after us, and like there's no way I'm going to say all the names, but just everybody was so incredibly kind and generous. It was just like the most generosity that you can imagine. And it just made everyone feel super comfortable. Everyone could be themselves. And it was just all about having a good time. There was no pretension anywhere in sight. And it was just like so good. And I don't know if we'll, like I said, I don't know if we'll have anything else like that again in the future, but man, I sure hope we do. And it would be crazy if the Nerdy Tourney was an annual thing and I had to defend the belt, but I could totally understand why that wouldn't be the case. I'm sure it was a massive expense and very kind of them, and Doug was saying it was kind of a way to say thank you to all the people that helped, grow the brand. Not all, some of the people who helped grow their brand. So yeah, man, just so good.
Yeah,
so
it
good.
really was incredible. Everything Justin said, echo. I would agree wholeheartedly. It felt like it was just 30, 40 best friends hanging out, just
all good vibes,
having
like
a good time, which could not be a more fun thing to do. So it was just incredibly fun. So Doug, Aurora, the whole team at Bread and Butter, thank you guys so much. Such a fun weekend, man. So sucks that Jacob from All Drive No Drop got sick and John Q couldn't make it because of an injury, but maybe next time if there is. So super fun. All right, we're gonna move on, man. Flickweight sent us the updated Flickweights, which they came in the tungsten weights that are a little bit thinner than the original copper weights. So I just wanted to kind of put these on video just to showcase them, and I really do like Flickweight. I think it's a really solid little nifty tool. I put Flickweights on a lot of my paddles, especially anything that's kind of head heavy. But you can use code Pursuit to purchase these now. They have the tungsten weights in stock, and I tell you what, dude. These things are hard as hell to take off your paddle because I had one on my Invader for the tournament and I didn't like the way it was feeling and it took me a long time to get it off.
Yeah, the adhesive was good.
It was hard.
And a huge step up in their packaging, right? They come now in this type of package and they're not just loose and they're banging against each other. Then you have to like open it up, you pull this board out, depending on how many you get, obviously, but they're on here. It's very clear instructions on the back. It comes with the alcohol wipe. So like this packaging is top notch. Everything you'll need, very clear. And just definitely going to like keep everything safe. And it looks great too. So, and based on the last ones we got, I'm not sure if those were in production packaging, but this is a big step up in the packaging, which is cool. It's good to see. Very clean. Like I said, plenty of information, all the information you could need.
Yep. I do like Flickweights. Speed coins are great as well, but they're not quite as thin and I think these just work a little bit better in terms of adhesive. But if you only need 10 grams, you can check out the Slice speed coins or the Bodhi Slice collab speed coins. But anything else, I think these are just the slightly superior, option. So thanks, Flickweights, for sending these over, man. I like your stuff. So, all right, man. At the tournament, we got 2 new paddles, one of which you did have a little help in, the creation of, which was the Bread and Butter Psycho, which is their new wide body 14 millimeter. It's CFC, right?
Yep.
Are we allowed to say everything about the?
I think so. Yeah. I'm just gonna do it. Sorry, Doug, if we can't. But
it's the fat boy shape. But Justin, go ahead and kind of just tell us a little bit about your help in this and what it is.
Yeah, and this is the production model. Let's not talk about my help. Honestly, I helped very little. So this isn't like I wouldn't call it like a Pickleball, et cetera, design or anything like that. This is all them. I just, helped out with a few little things, testing and some iterations. But yeah, 14 millimeter thickness. The core is black polypropylene, which is a little bit denser and more elastic than the traditional white polypropylene. So paddles that use it have kind of that springy feel to them.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, it also has 10 millimeter cells, which you might be able to see from my ball dust, which is this was the paddle I used in the tournament. And clearly you can see I was being tested. Okay. I didn't hit the sweet spot, but you can see 10 millimeter cell size diameter and the black polypropylene. So you get that kind of squish and spring back. CFC layup. So there's a fiberglass layer in the middle, adding some pop. The fiberglass layer also adds a little of that spring. So this build is very maneuverable, very fast, since it's a 14 millimeter standard shape. And you get a good amount of pop off the springy core and the fiberglass. But since it's the black polypropylene and the 10 mil cells, you also get a good amount of like dwell, and that's where the spin comes from, because it's not the most gritty thing ever. But it gets great spin, great shape, as you saw on the drives. So it has kind of that dwelly pop. And this, what did you say your stock stats were?
104 swing weight, 6.89 twist weight stock. So that is
and they come in under 8 ounces. Impressive.
Yeah,
it's probably like 7.8 ounces stock, and
so you have plenty of room
from
weight.
So this was my setup. This down here is 0.5 gram per inch, and it is 7 inches of 0.5 gram per inch down here. So 3.5 grams on the bottom corners. This is 1 gram per inch, 2 inches. So 2 grams on the top corners. So I did 2 grams top corners, 3.5 grams on the bottom corners. And I had my other one set up like this, and it was something like 113 or 114 swing weight, like 7.8 twist weight, something too high, honestly. While still being only like 8.2 or 8.3 ounces. But these are the production graphics now with the crazy eye, which is cool. It's subtle. And then they got their usual, stuff written down here. It's very cool. The colorway's cool.
Yep.
Little red, little green. But like I said, this is pretty subtle for bread and butter in a way, to have just black on black graphics. I really like this paddle. Of course, it's right up my alley. I like a thin, maneuverable, poppy paddle, and it has a good feel.
I've played only like 2 or 3 games with it. Only 1 game was weighted up, so I don't have too many thoughts on it. But it is definitely much more aggressive than the Fat Boy. So if you're looking for a little more offense and you like that Fat Boy shape and you like cool looking paddles, you're probably going to love the Psycho. So we're going to move on to the other paddle that we got, which is the Wild Thing.
I don't know if these are final graphics. This one is more in a development stage still, I think, than the Psycho. Doug was saying that he's not 100% sure if it's going to release, when, if it will release in this format, but this was kind of where they were at with it, and it was very cool of them to kind of like let everybody test it, because at the tournament, we were all playing with bread and butter paddles, so now these became 2 new options, because we got these, so someone could use a Psycho, which a couple people did. I know Chris did, I did, and then quite a few people used the Wild Thing. My partner Will used Wild Thing. And
this paddle's
I think
pretty
Kyle
damn
used
good
it as well. I haven't played with mine. Look, I was locked in with the Psycho because I was trying to win. So I
I
haven't
played
played
with
one
this
yet.
quite a bit, and I will say this is a pretty damn good paddle. It will definitely be their most offensive paddle.
You think more than the Psycho?
Yeah, like in terms of like raw power, yeah, for sure.
Maybe you think, what about the pop compared to the
I'd
Psycho?
have to put them side by side. Like I said, I haven't played with the Psycho enough, but this
being
this will
an
feel
elongated.
soft. This will feel soft because it's 3K carbon fiber for its top layer, which is kind of similar to what like PET or titanium feels like. But it does have fiberglass in its layup, and it's actually I have I think it's 4 grams of 1 gram per inch tungsten weight on here in the bottom corners, and it is still under 117 swing weight, which is
For any longer.
it's pretty impressive. I can imagine this is probably like a 114, 115 swing weight stock paddle, which for an elongate is pretty nice, 16 millimeters, and this is definitely one to watch out for. I'll be playing more with this. I do like it. Still think it's all court, but definitely one of their more powerful paddles. So the new BnB paddles are pretty sick. So we're going to jump into a couple more paddles real quickly. May have a Ripple review. I don't know. Who knows? Just kind of depends on if I want to go actually, edit it and upload it. But I'll have the for sure the C45 and the Holbrook ARMA reviews coming out soon. So yeah, just wanted to touch on that. The Ripple is such a polarizing paddle that it's almost like, I don't know, not sure how I feel about it. So I think it's a solid paddle. If you want to use Code Pursuit to buy it, it is definitely one of the most powerful paddles on the market, but it is nothing like the previous Ripples that failed for obvious reasons. They were illegal. So we're going to move on to newly approved, the GRUVN LAZR 16 HD solid foam.
You have a different color than me. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I got the red Kevlar. You got the all black.
It's black and blue. This may not be the final production colors or graphics, by the way.
Right. They could potentially change the name, but
see here it says solid foam.
Yeah,
so
this solid.
Tell it.
Solid paddle. Mine was a little heavy on swing weight stock. It was 117. We don't know too much about the core construction yet. We just know that it is foam, 100% foam core. Not sure if there's any additional foam or any things that have been done in terms of core construction to make it a more performative paddle. But played with this very sparingly. Pretty poppy, pretty good power. And definitely a paddle that I'm going to use a little bit more to see how it compares to the other foam options that keep coming out. So, do you have any thoughts on this? Want to say anything?
I played with this maybe more than you. I still don't know that I'd call this a power paddle. It's probably top of all court.
I couldn't say yet, but
I didn't find that it actually was extremely poppy. Well, but you guys take this with a grain of salt. I'm here for like very poppy paddles, like jumpy off the face, thin paddles. So I think it has sufficient offense for sure, power and pop. But I wouldn't call it like, oh my God, this is like a crazy power paddle or anything. What I will say though is the sweet spot's great. Like it feels really good. The response across the entire face is really good. And it may be on that line, like high all court, low power. The spin is, average, what good enough. It's not bad by any means. And same. Mine was 117 for this hybrid shape, which is a little high, but the twist weight was high too. We both really love this shape. This hybrid shape handles great. It just takes advantage of the full dimensions. It's very stable shape, great shape. This is a solid paddle. This is not even really a complaint. This is a preference, right? But for me, the balance, I would need some work. This is actually a perfect candidate for a flick weight for me because it almost feels to me like there's no weight at all from here down. It feels like so light. And then it feels like all the weight is here, which is great for a sweet spot, right? And plow through. but just my timing and the balance on swinging it felt really weird because it feels quite head heavy. It feels specifically like there's just no weight in the handle. And, I don't always feel like that with, normal or usual paddles. So I'm sure it has something to do with the foam construction. And I'll probably have to try this a little bit more with a Flickweight, perfect candidate. But yeah, hard pallets, great handle, great length, great shape, great overall shape, and really good. Like a paddle that's easy to play with, but still offers a lot. So yeah, good paddle.
All right, moving on to, you finally got the J2 NF paddles in.
Yes.
I played with the NFL, which is just going to be the NF in a Moneyball tournament. Played with the NFT a decent amount. Have not hit the K yet, but I'll keep you guys updated. Justin, you hit them. Let's talk about your thoughts, and then let's see how we both feel about them.
So same as you. I haven't hit the K yet. It's all plastic on the handle, but this Kevlar one is gritty. So
mine were
this
all very
NF
gritty. Yeah,
stands for notched foam. This is it's a full foam build, but there's some multi-materials and some interesting stuff going on, which is I'm really happy to see. The NFT I played with a little less than the NFL, soon to be NF, but the NFT, kind of what you'd expect from titanium, has like a really nice feel, plush feel. But
very muted.
Yeah, very muted, but it has good power. I actually liked this better than the J2 Ti Plus. I did play with that one.
Yeah.
And I like this better. This felt a little more linear and predictable to me. And as usual with Gen 3 style paddles, like the Ti Plus, sometimes it feels like certain parts of the face, I don't necessarily want to call them dead spots, but because of the material changes, the response of the ball can feel quite different. This one didn't really feel like that. It felt like that classic J2, like the whole freaking face is a sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
So the T I would call an all-court paddle. Enough offense, especially if you get a hold of one, though. And very soft feel, great spin. This is extremely gritty, and of course, there's plenty of pocketing. And then the NFL is probably the one I would gravitate towards. It has fiberglass in it. I kind of like that poppier, response, a little crisper. And this probably might even, I'll just go ahead and say I think it's probably in the power category.
Yeah, I would definitely say mine is for sure in the power category.
And I have a little less time on mine than you, and I think that we may not be on exactly the same page, but let me just say my first impression is that it's around the same firepower level as like the 11624 Vapor Power. That's my first impression. I'd have to test them side by side, but picking up and playing with it, it kind of reminded me of that pop and power level. Although the feel is pretty different. This one feels, again, like the NFT, more linear, more consistent across the face.
Yeah.
A little less bouncy in a way.
Boing?
Yeah, a little less boing. And it feels good, and it feels very predictable. It's easy to get along with while offering a lot of offense. And then here I'll say my major, I don't know that I want to call it a flaw, but my major preference complaint here is the throat, the handle. It's so hard for me to play with these. It would take a lot of adjustment. I basically can't hit a Tui well because here, and I'll explain it why. I realized today, it's not that, it's uncomfortable and I can't get over that. But what I realized what happens is, I'm like a one finger on the face guy. Well, this paddle, in comparison to a paddle with a thinner throat, the way that it fits in my hand when I grab and then I crank down, it actually opens the face for me. So I was hitting all my Tuis high. In a paddle where this is thinner, I'm able to like bring this part of my hand around the bottom more, and then the paddle is more closed and I can hit my Tui like this. But something to do with this shape, it opens it. So then I was like, let me just try 2 fingers. Well, that actually has the same effect. As soon as you put the second finger on, it opens the face, if you can kind of see that. So then I'm hitting high, and I'm trying to turn my wrist over like this, which, again, I'm sure I can adjust to it, but this is something that would take an adjustment period for me, and I would only do if I was going to main a paddle of this shape. My preference, of course, would just be that the radius was a little tighter here, and this wasn't as thick. Or, the handle was slightly longer before it actually meets the throat. But hey, man, compromises. That's why these are so stable, why they have a great sweet spot. But for me personally, I find it very difficult to play with this shape well. I just basically, my TUI is just off always. That's dinks, drops, resets, returns, drives, everything just totally off. So that's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
While I don't love the taper, I can get over it, you know. It doesn't bother me that much because I just like how well this paddle performs. I feel like this is one of the best performing paddles on the market right now. I think it hits harder than the 11.624 Power Series by not a substantial, but I definitely think it's has a little more firepower than those paddles. The NFT does not quite have as much, in my personal opinion. I would say the NFT is probably like all court leaning power. This is definitely like firmly. This is the J2 NF is firmly
significantly
in
more
the
powerful than the T.
power. Yeah, but it really isn't quite as, you know, exponential or logarithmic as other Gen 3 paddles. Not nearly as much as the Yola Pro 4s, where you just like all of a sudden you'll hit one like real high up on the face and be like, whoa, what the hell? Like that one just jumped. Or even the gearboxes, you know. But definitely a more predictable power, very similar to the 11.624, which is, you know, not perfectly linear, but much more so,
you know. Yeah. I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But like the change that you would feel paddles from a Pro 4 to the 11.624 power, you would just like do more of the same to go down to these for feel wise. Yes, I agree. Like this, by the way, is so good that, you know, if and when it's approved, I would consider trying to learn and make the adjustment for my TUI to then main it. It's that good.
Yeah, so this is a very good paddle.
Yeah, and just to say, like for context, because I know people are probably wondering this, of the foam paddles, you know, that are all out right now, like fully approved release foam paddles, right? We got like the True Foam, we got like the Selkirk 008s, we got the Diamond Blue cores. Those are the main ones that are like fully approved and going to be on the market. And where would I put these? I like this much better than the Blue cores in the 008. I don't prefer it over the True Foam. So to me, the True Foam would still be the top dog, kind of has been for a while. This, however, is probably my favorite. I would probably pick this over the True Foam. The True Foam 2, I actually mained for a little bit. See, that handled the same way. Not ideal. Took some adjustment from me. So we're in the same boat there. But yeah, I mean, we'll see when the new True Foam shape comes out. If it has got a better handle, then that may kind of put it up there. But yeah, I'd put these kind of performance-wise and preference-wise as the best foam paddles that are, you know, publicly out. Huge asterisk because this is not approved yet.
Yeah, very huge designation. And for anybody wondering, I would agree wholeheartedly with what you said. I think these are like a clear favorite in terms of best foam paddles that I've tested. Hasn't been approved yet. But for anybody who's wondering what the NF stands for, it stands for notched foam. So this has a solid foam core, and then starting about right here where my fingers are, there's a perimeter foam that kind of notches into the core itself, kind of like similar to like Legos, if you will. But GM told me I could say that, but I can't show the X-ray yet. So these are that's kind of like the construction of these paddles, which is very unique. I haven't seen it before.
I like it.
And it does for sure have performative enhancements on the paddle, because this paddle kind of kicks ass. All right, on to another paddle that kicks ass. I wasn't too impressed with this paddle at first, but the more I played with it, the more impressed I was with it, which is the Holbrook ARMA. This is just the carbon fiber one. The metallic T, while being a very beautiful paddle, did not really care for it as much. It was a little too muted, didn't really have the feel that I was going after. But this Holbrook ARMA T, if somehow this cannot break, this is going to be a pretty intriguing paddle. Feels similar to the C45 in terms of like stiffness and quick responsive face, but it doesn't have like the dwelly feel that the C45s have. But I think this is a really good paddle. I can't remember what the price is. I believe it's $280, which is pretty high up there. But I do think that this is a paddle that is pretty good. You know, like I enjoyed playing with this quite a bit. And it's another one, kind of like the C45 and the J2NFs, that's like just barely past that linear feel, a little more unpredictable, but not over the top, you know, like the gearboxes and the Yola Pro 4s. So I do think these are good paddles, and I will be reviewing them. And yeah, pretty impressed with these the second time I played with them. All right, man. That's really all the paddles we have to talk about today. You ready to go to everyone's favorite segment? New week, new main? Sponsored by Bodhi Pickleball. Bodhi Pickleball has tons of pickleball accessories, bags, sleeves, grips, tungsten tape, speed coins, and many other stuff. They actually just sent me their new trainer paddle. So,
nice.
Since Bodhi sponsors this podcast, I will not be doing a review on this because that would be a conflict of interest. But they do now have
you were going to review a trainer paddle anyway.
Yeah, like I was going to review. But yeah, they do have this now available. Anything on Bodhi's website, you can use code Pursuit for 15% off. Some really stellar stuff. So thank you, Bodhi, for sponsoring. New week, new main. Justin? It's a new week,
Everybody
brother.
knows I'm a big Bodhi fan. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Great guy. I love the sleeves. Boom. I had to bust them out in Florida, man, when we were playing outside.
Bust them out.
For the sun and for the sweat. It was crazy. But
yeah. That is true.
Yeah.
It does kind of similarly act like a sweatband.
It definitely does. It keeps the sweat from running down onto your hands.
Yeah,
and then also as soon as they get sweaty, then they start to feel cool. So then it cools you off a little bit.
Yeah.
So sleeve season, baby.
Sleeve season, baby. New week, new main. What you got?
This is a tough one, dude. I don't even. I really don't have a main, but this is what we're going to talk about. This is the one we're going to talk about right now. It's going to be the Psycho. And I feel like it's got to be the main, right? Because this is the one that I just played the tournament with, that I just won the tournament with, right? So
you little
for this week, the main's got to be the Psycho. I mean, come on, bro. Like, however,
good paddle.
Yeah, a great paddle. Already talked about my weight setup earlier. If you skipped that part, you want to go back to it. And we already talked about the construction and everything. Love this paddle. It's kind of right up my alley. Personally, I do like a touch more pop and maybe even stiffness. That's my preference. So, and all that to say, I've been really behind on testing paddles. I have a lot to test, both for work and for the podcast. So I'm going to be kind of mainless a little bit for a few weeks here. And I'm going to do my best not to touch the Neonic Flare Prime X. I even took it out of my bag and put it in the closet. Not because I don't like it, because I do like, I know, I just know that if I pull out and start playing with it, I'm going to be like,
back to.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, ooh, I'll just keep playing with this, you know?
Yeah.
So love that
good.
paddle, but I'm going to go sow my seed. Wait, I don't know if that's the way to say it, but I'm going to go flirt around with some paddles, test some paddles, and I think it's time to switch it up. So maybe the next few weeks might actually be more interesting for the first time in 6 months, besides me just saying the same thing over and over again.
Well, good for you, man. I am, so here's the deal. New week, new main is still C45, 14 millimeter. This is the Dynasty elongated shape. Still love this paddle.
We got the Grinch colorway going.
Probably the moment this J2NF is approved, this will probably be the main. But going forward in any tournament play, I'm going to be picking up this C45 elongated. I freaking love this paddle.
That's in my bag. Because of you, I feel like I got to test it more.
Yeah, I don't know why it's my favorite. It doesn't make sense that it's my favorite, but it is. So, new week, same main. I'm not being a little, flirtatious boy. I'm just sticking with one paddle. But I'm eyeing something. So yeah, that's new week, new main, man. We're going to move on to the last segment today. No Nerd Town. We're going to do a quick little net gains. And, as someone who was abused on Saturday in the final, I figured this would be the perfect net gains, which is attack the weakness in tournaments. You should have zero shame at all going after your opponent's weaknesses. You should find them as fast as possible and literally hammer that until they prove that they cannot, that they can, stop you from whatever weaknesses you're trying to exploit. So Justin and Will, they exploited me. And,
Oof.
it was one of those games where I was really struggling with my blocks. The game before, I was just crushing my blocks. They were all great, very good. And then this game, they were a little suspect. And y'all said, you know what? We're going to keep driving it, Lewis. And what happened, Justin?
You got a little exposed.
Pull that belt out, baby. Y'all won the belt. So it is imperative. Yep, it is imperative that as a tournament player, if you are playing for anything that there's any stakes on, attack the weak player. Now,
by the way, it happened to me.
Yeah.
You guys did it to me also.
Uh-huh.
I say you were returning to me. That wasn't really exploiting I don't think thirds are my weakness necessarily. You were just trying to stay away from Will's nuke of a drive.
Avoiding the monster.
Earlier in the game, I'm real trash at right side dinking, especially being pulled out wide.
Yeah, I was trying
dude, you were killing me. Forehand rolling me out wide, and you earned like a few pop-ups. Luckily for me, 2 of those you blasted into the net. But you guys, so not just you, and throughout the tournament, people realized that, and were like dinking wide to me a lot. I struggle on the right, dinking wide. And then not only that, just in general, of course, I was getting a lot of returns, a lot of thirds hit at me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's definitely, there's no shame in it. And like I said, at this tournament, it was very clear too. It made me realize it and feel better about it in a way because, like I said, all the top teams were constructed the same way.
Yeah.
With one kind of player that you would choose to avoid if you could. So then that left you a pretty obvious target. And you and I, right side princesses, with the target right on us.
Right side princesses, baby. We held our own until I didn't. And man, congratulations. If it couldn't be me, I'd want it to be you.
Same, bro. I agree. I
I'm
said that too.
So proud of my wife. Well,
last little thing. Let me do. You can make a little chapter for this because I just wanted to make like a huge shout out to my partner, Right Side Will. He's not on YouTube, but if you guys are on Instagram, he has like hilarious stories all the time. And this was my first time meeting him, and just like, what a great dude. I mean, the vibes were like just awesome. There was
such a nice guy.
Time. He's, like I said, he's wearing a wig and a dress the whole time. We literally had to go outside. I had to trim the bangs on his wig because that hair was getting in his eyes.
That's so funny.
I had to I have to unzip his dress, between matches because he's burnt. He was like literally sprinting over to the AC between every match and like upskirting the AC. Just
wow.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do, right, Will? Anyway, hey, and he even gave me an award after we won my first ever Labubu. I got a Labubu from Will for winning, so I think this makes me like an honorary Asian now. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but yeah, huge shout out to Will. Great dude. Hopefully we'll see him again, at an event or maybe out in SoCal. He runs a facility out there. Just, want to give him a shout out.
Heck yeah, man. I'd agree. Your opponent was a beast of a player, but also just a super nice guy, super chill guy. I think you and I, well, you said it. We hit the partner lottery,
We did, yeah.
They were just perfect matches for our play style. And I think that was, absolutely proof in how the results went, so making it that far. So it was hella fun playing with Steven. He was such a beast, so solid, Learned a lot of things watching him play, and really enjoyed our time at the Bread and Butter tournament. Hopefully we can all do something like this again soon. The content's going to be hilarious. The whole weekend was awesome. So
Yeah, keep an eye
appreciate
out.
you
Lewis,
guys.
you going to make any videos?
Yeah, I'll probably make a little video. It might be a little
All right,
Pursuit
make
of
some videos,
4-5
bro.
type video. So yeah, you'll see. Unfortunately, you'll see. Fortunately for y'all, unfortunately for me, we'll see the final of Justin and Will just abusing me. So thank you guys so much for watching this long episode of the Pickleball Pursuit podcast. If you have any questions, any topics, any things that you'd like for us to cover in future episodes, make sure you hit those in the comment section below. Until then, man, we're out. Peace.